Okay, so we're now in front of a more complete modular chiller plant. We're just in one that didn't have walls, but this one looks like a lot more complete.
Yeah, this is probably about 95% complete. This is getting ready to ship out probably next week.
Wow.
Nice. They'll go through, they'll do another coat of paint on everything, clean it all up, test everything. It's going through final really installation now. So we have comfort cooling in there, some fan coils in there, and then
to keep the plant cool.
Yeah, it's actually not really keeping the plant cool, it's just removing the heat. So all we're trying to do is try and remove the heat that the chillers are producing and that the electrical's producing. So
because the compressors have heat that comes off of them, and the electrical has
100%,
heat. Right. Yeah.
And because we're utilizing the 4160 chillers in this plant as well, the heat's not as much as the 460 chiller. Just because because less amps.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking back to my P equals IV something.
You're a better man than I. Yeah.
We're mechanical guys, so we don't like the wires. Like we're like, okay, there's a wire there, I get it.
But we've already installed the roll-up doors. So these roll-up doors, they can either be just manual or you roll them with a chain, or we can actually tie it into the refrigerant monitor system so that when there is a leak in the chiller, it can actually open up the door, put on all the exhaust fans.
Gotcha.
This plant is actually just manual doors, and then for ASHRAE, we meet the duty by actually putting in fans there with an evacuation system.
Got it.
Stub outs up top too. That's actually the refrigeration stub outs. So if there was a leak, it would get piped outside.
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that whole aspect of if there's a leak.
So you're gonna have refrigerant monitors in there. Everything that we have to do is meet ASHRAE compliant for our designs, and then it has to meet NEC codes and then minimum working.
Just like a chiller plant anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, and as you guys will probably do some more shots later here, but this wall over here is actually a removable wall. This will actually line up to an existing one that's in the field already. So this is, I think,
this wall here. Well, can we?
Yeah. So this right here, it's a removable wall. So down here, we just have some tubular steel in here.
Okay.
And we just have it fastened in here so that when it gets up, they'll pull it off. They'll pull that whole entire wall off, and then they'll slap it up to a whole nother set of units.
So there's existing modules out there.
Correct. They're already out installed in the field.
Getting up onto it. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. So this will go right on site, just like a building would.
Yep.
Except this module
lifting lugs on there. Those will be put in there. That's just for us to tool around here in the shop, so we can pull it around.
Okay.
But when it ships out, we'll actually have engineered, I guess, fit-ups that actually get their hoist up there too. You'll have double points or a 4-point system to rig it in place.
Gotcha. Okay. So chiller motors, these are 4160.
Yep.
These are
externally cooled. So it's not hermetically sealed.
So the motor is not bathed in the refrigerant. Some of the compressor manufacturers make it that way, and there's pros and cons to both ways to do it. They fight each other all the time.
100%. Yeah. Because when you go to like your YMC squared chill that York does, I believe that's a liquid cooled one. So you don't have that external heat. We'd have to do calculations for to add more fan coils.
Got it.
So when we can build units, we have an agent or a client that wants York chillers up to about 1,000 tons. We pretty much always go with the YMC squared chiller, just because we have some over here in the plant we can walk through later, but we can do inverted operation. So you can actually run that chiller as a free cooling. So you don't have to have an external free cooling heat exchanger.
Right.
So you can have the condenser water actually colder than the water that's going out to the plant.
Got it.
So
open motor, that's what I was looking for.
So there you go.
Good explanation. Can we walk around the module here so people can get an idea of the size of it?
Yeah.
So this wall is going to be removed, but it's typical of a wall you'd find on a plant. Is it foam in there? What's in this wall?
Yeah. So this is it's a panel that we purchase.
Okay.
This is a 3-inch panel, foam insulated, and it's tongue and groove. So when these go together, they snap in there, and it's actually it's self-supporting. We put a little bit more rigidity in there because it is going down the road.
Yeah.
So that's one of our biggest hurdles is just getting it down the road.
Foam-filled panels are incredibly strong.
Yes.
It's surprising to me.
This is kind of aesthetically, I like the looks of our panels. They have more of a knockdown stucco design.
Yeah.
So it's just like it hides any imperfections that may happen on a job site with somebody, rubbing up against some tools or getting it hit with something. So it kind of just hides a little bit. When you go to flat ones, they look really nice, but any little imperfection, and then matching the paint on site is always very difficult. But if our client wants that, we'll get that in as well.
Yeah. Cool. Let's walk around this way. Maybe we'll just walk down here and see if we see anything. And
so this is where two modules come together. So the flashing's not on here, but in the field, once they rig it in place,
so be a flashing over this.
There'll be a flashing over all of that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it'll just be screwed right to the sides here, all the way up.
So you put it together here, you do some testing, whatever's necessary,
break it apart,
ship them out.
And then some clients, they'll have, stub outs come out to the side for the wash down design. If they want to put in, drains, which we have a lot of drains in these systems, but really the drains are only for if there's a problem happens. If a pump seal kit leaks, it's going to go into a drain. I would say they're 95% dry after they get deployed.
Okay. We talked about the doors.
Yep. And it's kind of interesting. So when you come down through here, you see these big, huge machines.
Yeah.
And then you come up to another York chiller, which is, it's probably a good size 300 or 400 ton machine, but it looks so small in comparison to a 1500 ton unit.
Now, are you insulating these barrels here in the factory, or?
So JCI deploys it with the chilled water, I believe, insulated. And then so the condenser water shot, we don't insulate, unless the client asks for it. Just that's on the climate that it's going to, high humidity areas, and the dew point. It's going to be inside the room.
The first chiller plant I sold was in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was not conditioned.
Yeah.
I learned about condenser insulation then.
Yes. Yeah, so
this looks like, it looks like a little Lego toy compared to these. Now, what tonnage, what are we looking at here tonnage-wise?
So that's a 1,500 ton chiller.
Okay.
And then this is I believe this is a 375.
A centrifugal.
Yes.
Variable speed, variable speed. And that would be like a trim chiller typically. We talked about that earlier.
This is actually going into another client's, just got shipped here.
Got it.
So, and if you look behind us, we have a lot more that just arrived. So we're going through a QC check. Every time we receive a chiller here, we actually go through a QC check to make sure that it arrived the proper way. We make sure there's no anything inside the panels came apart. There's any ferrule things in the bottom. Make sure there's no metal disbursements in there. And then we check it in, QC it. Then we have the JCI branch come up there, do their visual check as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Good practice, huh?
Yeah. And this is another project too that's going on. I'm not sure what's inside of it, which chiller it's in there, but this client actually elected to put in like a barge unit. So whereas in this plant we utilize chilled water fan coils, we can easily stick a barge unit on a refrigeration style unit, and probably about a 7-ton unit that's on the end.
So for those who don't know, who's never been in a portable classroom, that's a self-contained air conditioning unit.
Pretty much,
package unit on the side of a wall.
So it just blows into the unit.
And I think I saw there was one on the other side there too. So get some good cooling in there.
Yeah. And you see we have a lot of different models going through here. YMC squared chiller as well over there.
Can we walk over there? Is that
sure.
Nate, watch your step here.
Yep.
You're doing a good job, Nate. Thank you.
So Tony, one thing that I'll show you here too. So we have our same style. We did the framework and everything too. But if you notice the base on this one, it's only an 8-inch base.
Okay.
That's because in the field, years ago, many moons ago, Johnson Controls used to build their own chiller plants. We took over that business for them roughly around in 2008-ish.
Didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is actually going to get put on to an existing JCI chiller plant there. So little different design. Notify, we're utilizing the same manufacturers that they currently have on site, where this one they have, horizontal split case pumps where they have isolation, vibration.
So it matches what they have there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit different configurations.
It must be so much easier to build in this controlled environment.
It really is. I mean,
having everything here, the tools and everything.
We don't have rain delays, no snow delays. You know, nobody being late for
Maybe a hurricane delay every once in a while. But
you know, we're fortunate enough that we're higher elevation where
there you go.
We've fared out okay.
You have those delays on any
Yeah,
job site, for sure.
No.
So why don't we get a shot over here real quick?
Yeah.
This is a great.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this. Actually, has the tower on top of it.
Yeah. So this is actually one of the units that are getting deployed out. So it actually has the cooling tower fastened up through there. The roof's on there already, so you're going to have so-much there. The roof that's going to be on top, there's going to be a membrane roof that goes on there.
Right.
It's actually on there now. I can see it hanging off the side. So I don't know what the thickness level of that is, but it's a membrane roof there. It's flashed in. So when it gets on site, over top where the two I-beams are going to connect, there'll be actually like a reverse J channel or C channel that sits on top of it. So it flashes it in to makes it watertight.
Now, each of these modules will have one of those or two of those.
If the largest single cell cooling tower you can get is roughly about 1,500 tons.
Matches perfectly at one module.
At 78-degree wet bulb.
78 wet bulb. Gotcha.
Yeah. So if it's
which covers most areas.
Yeah, most 100. Yeah, pretty much, unless you're going to Houston area.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of why we really. Well, I wouldn't say we maxed out the size with a 1,500 ton module, but it really fits in there nice. It ships down the road easy, plenty of serviceability in there. Not to say that you can't put larger chillers in there and have plenty of service in there. It's just that these line up directly with a single cell cooling tower.
Right.
So you're going to have one fan on it, probably about 125 horsepower fan in there. We'll put the VFDs down below.
Yeah.
If a client wants a knife blade disconnect on there, we'll put that in there as well. Pretty much whatever they need.
Now, why is it on there right now? Just for testing?
Yeah, so because this is going to an existing site, and we just always periodically bring in a cell or two, and it's usually just the bottom basin, because we do, the piping goes through the tower itself. We don't have side connections on there like you see in typical stick-built environments. So we're trying to get to where to limit the amount of overhanging pipes we want to support it.
Oh, I got you.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
it's nice when they all line up too.
We'll fit it up there, make sure that it's right, change from the factory correct, and then break it apart and deploy it out. We don't bring all the basins for the towers in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They just ship. Typically, they ship to the job site. The towers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So for a unit that we just another unit that's over there, we just did a factory test where that client actually wanted us to bring in the cooling tower.
Is that the Marley one over there?
That was the Marley.
Can we go over there?
Yeah, we can go over there now. That's it.
It's so amazing just to see all these chillers here. It's like touring a chiller manufacturing plant.
Yeah, and we do have some other brands in the house, but we have them on a different project there where it's actually it's a very sensitive project.
Secret project.
Yeah, we can't show it out in depth.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, that I'll should up to let us know if it's yourself again.
Nate, you're getting your practice today, buddy.
There you go.
Doing great.
Yep.
So Marley.
Yeah, so we just completed this factory test. I believe it was a week ago that we went through a punch list item that the client wanted the changes in it.
Okay.
Just finished that up. They're putting on the door, the custom-made door right now, putting the threshold in there. When it ships, they'll secure the door so it can't open during shipping and everything.
Right.
But then for this actual testing, though, we actually had the cooling tower on top of this, too.
I gotcha.
I think here's the cooling tower right here.
Yeah.
We ran the cooling tower. We didn't turn the fan on, but we ran all the water through it.
Gotcha.
So it really plumbed up.
Before we get a tour of this nice looking Marley stainless steel tower, maybe we could talk about the motor. So what I couldn't remember last time, open motor design, because it's been a while since I've looked at centrifugals, but this is a hermetically sealed motor, or the refrigerant is cooling the motor, or it's liquid cooled.
This one is liquid cooled. This is the YMC squared chiller.
Gotcha.
So it's liquid cooled, and this is their magnetic bearing chiller. Very robust. Go down to about 10 to 15%, I believe, of the operating load. This client right here, this is another data center that we have, and we have several of the chillers already installed in the field. And if you notice here, we just bolted these units right here. These are removable walls, so that when it arrives in the field, it's going to sandwich up to an existing plant already.
Got it.
So that's the only reason why you see some bolted right there. Typically, it's a welded scenario.
And is this the refrigerant leak detector?
Yeah, so that's the sensor going to be right there.
The sensor.
Yeah, and then I believe at the tail end over here is where all the refrigerant monitors taking place.
One of the first jobs, one of the first chiller plants I ever went to in my career when I was a young salesman, I was at a hospital chiller plant. You know, they're pretty sensitive about their gear in hospitals.
Oh, yeah.
And I was bringing out a new sensor, and the guy was on the phone, the plant manager, and I said, well, I'll just change it out for him. I'll be a nice guy and do it. And I took that off, and the whole chiller plant went down. Like sirens went off, and he came running out. So if you're watching, don't touch anything. You might want to isolate it first. Don't touch anything if you're a sales guy. How about that?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, too, because, you know, they're with the different refrigerants that are in there, that's what clients didn't. We kind of let one slip by us. We had a client that we ordered a new chiller. All the existing chillers that were in the field were all 134A. The next one they shipped out was a 513. You had to have different sensors.
Different sensors for different
monitor
refrigerants,
device
right.
too. So, you know, as best you learn from your mistakes, right?
Yeah, that's
you get out
right.
there too. So we educated our process too to always look at when we're going through a checklist.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we could look at this Marley crossflow.
Yep. These are
Crossflow cooling tower.
yeah, crossflow cooling tower.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
So this is
That's going to be their fill side too, where it's going to be the fill, where it's going to rate, the water's going to run down through it.
when we take these off at startup, everybody fights over who gets this nice. It's an extremely nice tarp.
It is. That would be a nice one there. But inside of it, the maintenance is done on these from all with inside the unit too. So when we buy these cooling towers from Marley or different manufacturers, we're buying all the platforms that go inside there too. So
Nice.
There's no reason to stand in water when you're changing out a motor. I just think that it is an option you can forego and not have a platform. Every project that we build here at Envirosep, we make sure we put the maintenance platform in there too.
Because the stuff you're doing is major. It can't be down.
Yeah,
right?
and it's also, you know, you got a 25 horsepower motor or 75 horsepower motor. You're having some rigging that goes along in there too. And what are you going to drop it down into water? You know, it doesn't make sense though.
Exactly.
Buying the little extra bells and whistles, even though sometimes they're not specified, it helps out the client in the long run.
That's great. That's great. Taking care of your customers. So.
Yeah. And then if you want to look inside the unit as well.
Let's do it.
So,
Nate, you want to get some shots in there?
so this, you'll see they have a heating element down on the bottom there too.
Yeah.
That's just to keep it up, so in case they get the low temperatures, they can keep it from freezing. And then very rugged design though. This is obviously being zip tied together for shipping.
Yeah.
This will go out next week to the client.
Is this the motor? Is the motor inside? Or
Yeah, the
motor's right
motor's
there.
inside.
See it? Got it?
Yeah. Yeah, the fan
Very
section
nice.
is just not on right now.
Yeah.
And then, Tony, I know we've been talking a lot about chiller plants.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of other things here at Envirosep, whether it be air compressor plants, boiler plants.
Mm-hmm.
We do a ton of process cooling water systems, nanofab technology, life sciences. We had a client here that was in pharmaceutical, and we just deployed a 22 module assembly for them, did the whole rigging and assembly on site.
Incredible.
And that had everything that you could possibly want. Chilled water, heat pump technology. It had boilers in there, gas-fired, electric boilers. Everything that we pretty much offer in a central plant package was in that one plant.
Nice.
Built our own deaerators, feed water systems, put it in there deployed.
There's a boiler plant over here. Do we want to look at that real
Sure,
quick?
let's go look at it.
You want to break real quick? You good? Okay. While that camera's going, man, you want to get us as much as you can.
Yeah, it's all
it's
good.
so easy once you start doing it.
Yeah. Well,
So this is a packaged boiler plant?
yeah, so this is a hot water boiler plant.
Right.
Again, brand agnostic here at Envirosep. The client wanted to utilize PK. They may be a rep of ours. I'm not really sure where this one's going in the US.
Right.
And you also notice here too, this is a single module. And one of the things that we kind of brought back in our single modules is because we can ship it down the road through our factory, I'd say, a lot faster is we have the tubular style walls. A lot of our competition here, they actually utilize this same technology too. In those ones, you'll see where we had temporary walls in there that we utilized the tubular steel. And then all the big plants that are fixed in there where we have the I-beam structure, which allows you to have a little bit more bandwidth in between.
Gotcha.
things.
Which would be overkill for something like this.
Yes, 100%. And this is
hot water and pumps.
Just hot water and pumps. We got some Armstrong pumps there, some Patterson Kelly. You know, we do a ton of Aeroco boilers, Bryant boilers, you name it, Fulton. Again, different projects, different owner requirements, possibly different reps that are also utilized in the sale of a plant.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah,
totally.
So, and there's also different styles of like the drains. Like, you know, we have a vented drain like that too, where it has a trap in there. And we also offer drains that are just more, has a great style design where it's a 12 by 18 inch drain pulled up. You can hose down, clean there. The finishes as well. This is a diamond floor plate.
Yeah.
You can see in some of the other plants that we have here where it's just flat and it's just painted with non-skid paint on there as well.
Right.
So whatever client wants,
yeah,
it doesn't matter to us.
That's right. Excellent. Cool. Take a little break.
Sounds good.